Great to welcome back with us the New York Times internationally best-selling author Karin. We had her on about a year ago, maybe a little bit less than that, when her previous book came out. And she has a brand new one out now called The Kept Woman. And we're joined by Karin on the telephone today. And Karin, good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, we had you on when we talked about the Pretty Girls book. Congratulations on the success of that.
Well, thank you.
You're quite prolific, writing a book a year, right? Or maybe more.
Yeah, I'm lucky that the stories keep coming.
Well, this one is part of your Will Trent series, and just for folks that weren't with us before, you have a couple of series going, right, 2 or 3, but talk a little bit about who Will Trent is.
Well, I have been writing about him for a while, but I want to let listeners know that this is a book you can pick up. You don't have to have read the ones earlier. Mm-hmm. And it basically opens up like most Will Trent books open up. He's extremely happy, and then something awful happens. And in this case, the awful thing is he gets called to a crime scene with his partner, Faith. And they get there, and a cop has been murdered. But this is an old-timey cop who has retired and has been having a cloud of suspicion over him most of his career for being a corrupt police officer. And as they're going through the course of the investigation, Will realizes that in some way his wife, who has disappeared for the last year, even though he's been trying to get a divorce from her, is somehow involved in the murder.
Hence the kept woman. That's who that is, right?
Exactly.
And again, Will Trent, he's a detective in Georgia, where you live, so you kind of based it a little bit on the area where you are, right?
Yeah, I live in Atlanta, about 5 minutes from downtown, and I was born and raised in Georgia, so I think you should write what you know, but I also think you should write what you want to know about. And, from a very young age, I've always wanted to know why people do bad things, and this certainly explores that.
Yeah, when you write a character that's continued in several books, obviously it evolves. Has it kind of gone maybe a little different direction than you thought, or how do you keep it moving, in different directions?
Well, each book is different, but the one thing that's consistent with every book I've written is when I start the book, I absolutely know who the bad guy or the bad woman, because sometimes I write about women doing bad things, is. So I'm able, as I write the book, to play very fair with my readers and to plant clues along the way and maybe a little misdirection so that by the time they get to the end of the story, their reaction to it is, oh, that makes sense, rather than what the heck just happened.
Is that the hardest part about writing a mystery or a thriller? Plotting it out, I would imagine, to have it follow some kind of path, or you want to take the readers on a bit of a journey, maybe send them off a wrong path occasionally, but that has to be the hardest part, I guess.
It is. It's very difficult to do that. You have to juggle a lot of balls in the air. And I always say, everybody probably on the planet has at least one great idea for a book. But that's not the hard part. It's sitting down and figuring out how to express the plot and how to express the story through characters that the reader is interested in, and pulling that taut line of suspense throughout the story. That's the difficult part, and that's the part that I love the most, is the nuts and bolts of putting together a mystery.
You have to also remember where things have happened previously, right? So you don't get too far off track.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's been quite a few books now, so that's a lot to keep in my head. I've had to start writing things down.
Now when you write about crimes and all that, did you do research as far as maybe look up cases and get ideas that way, or how do you go about it?
We have great sunshine laws in Florida, as you do, where you can just right away and ask for information about a case that's been adjudicated, and you get the detective's reports, you get the officer reports, you get the autopsy, all of that stuff. So that's definitely something we have. But unfortunately, there are a ton of crimes in Georgia, and so I need a little nudge one way or the other. So I've been very grateful to the police officers I know and the agents with the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. They'll give me a call or an email and say, hey, you might want to check out this case, or they'll tell me stories about cases that they worked on. And I tell you what, the hardest thing is sometimes I'll read these cases and I'll think, I can't put that in a book because nobody would believe that would happen.
Have you ever gone to crime scenes yourself and see what it looks like? Do that kind of research? Or?
I've had the opportunity, and I feel very strongly that I am writing for entertainment first and foremost.
Right.
And I don't want to exploit someone's worst day. Even if it's I saw an autopsy once of a homeless man, and I was very conscious that this man, he grew up with a family, he had a life. And I wanted to honor that when I wrote about the different things I picked up watching that in my books. But I don't necessarily need to go to a crime scene, especially one that involves murder, because I don't want to interfere with anything. I have gone on training exercises. I've done a ride-along. Actually, I went to the Writers Police Academy, which was held in Wisconsin at a training facility for federal and state law enforcement. That was pretty cool. I got to spin out some cars and shoot some bad guys.
Well, it's fascinating to kind of read these cases and see what happens. Obviously, tragedy happens, but you take that and kind of weave it into a mystery. That's what people love, these mysteries and thrillers. I mean, look what's on television, right? People love that kind of story.
Yeah, I'm in the right business at the right time, but I think just as human beings, we're interested in violence, and we're interested in maybe we've evolved to such a degree, that we can drive cars and work computers and that kind of thing. But I think there's an innate part of us that still has to track bad things and kind of learn from that. And maybe reading mysteries is how we honor that evolution.
Just getting back to Will Trent for a minute, when you write dialogue with him and the other folks, I guess you kind of, you're living down there, you kind of know how people talk. I guess you write that way as well, don't you? How they talk to each other? I do, and it was strange initially when I would hear my audio books, and I would think, oh, that's not the right accent, or that's not how I would say that. So, the thing is, everybody has a different voice in their head, and I'm translated in a lot of countries, so I'm sure someone in Taiwan or Holland or, any of these crazy countries I'm translated into has a very different voice. And so I just had to let it go. Well, yeah, 35 million copies sold all around the globe, so that's great when you can get people from all over the world reading your books about a state in the South. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like I'm an ambassador.
Well, this one is called The Kept Woman. I'm sure it'll be another one of Karin's bestsellers in her series, the Will Trent series. And Karin, give out your website again. People can contact you or get more information on the book.
It's KarinSlaughter.com, and that's Karin with an I, or you can go on Facebook or Twitter.
And like I say, it's a good last name if you're writing murder mysteries.
Yes.
I'm sure I'm not the first person that told you that, but...
Well, I think it's a good thing I'm not writing romance.
That's right. Karin, great to talk with you. Hopefully we can do it again. I'm sure you're working on other books, and we look forward to having you back with us then. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or DougMilesMedia.